Welcome to part 3 of lesson 4.6. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and add some action buttons with an unwind segue. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a bar button item to the left. And what I'll do is I'll change the item to a cancel button. And then what I want to do is I want to do the same thing, add a bar button to the right. And what I want to change that to is a save button. Okay, so now I have my cancel and save. So what I need to do is I need to go into my Emoji table view controller, and we're going to go ahead and add a method in there, a function. And it's going to be an unwind to emoji table view function. So it'll be an @IB action. And what we're going to do, it's going to be a func. And it'll be an unwind to emoji table view, and we're going to pass in a segue, and it's going to be a UI storyboard segue. So we'll add the implementation for this method a little bit later on for this function. So what I need to do is I need to go back into my main storyboard, and I need to connect each of my cancel and my save buttons to my exit buttons. So I'll go ahead, control click on my save button, drag it up and connect it to my exit button, and I want to go ahead and select that unwind segue. After I've selected that, I'm going to go in and click on it, and what I want to do is I want to change the name of the segue. So I'm going to call it Save Unwind. Okay, so I've done that. Then I need to do the same thing for my cancel button, so I'll just drag it up and add another unwind segue. So I have those set up. Then what we need to do is I'm just going to go ahead and build my app and see if I can move from my detailed view back into my table view. Okay, so I'll click on one. It brings up the emoji that I want to go ahead and edit. I can click on cancel. It takes me back. Go ahead, click on plus, and if I click on save, it'll go ahead and take me back. So that looks like that's working correctly. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and check to make sure that we want all of our text fields to actually have text. Once our symbol, name, description, and usage has some type of information in it, then we're going to enable the save button. So in order to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an outlet from my save button. And we'll just drag that down, and we're going to call it a save button. I'll click on connect. Let me delete the code here. Let me go ahead and enter there. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an update save button state function that we're going to go ahead and check to see if there are text in all the fields. So let me pause the video so I can go ahead and enter that information enter the code, and then we'll take a look at the code after that. Okay, I've gone in, I've updated the code. So basically what we're looking at in this code is we're checking to see if there is actually text in the fields, And if there is, then if they're not empty, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and enable our save button. So we would call this method in our viewDidLoad. So let me just go ahead and make that call to it. And that'll call it there. And how do we continually check to see if the save button should be enabled or disabled? So what we're going to do is we're going to call update save button state after each key press. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an IB action that calls the method. So let me just go ahead, IB action, and what it's going to be, a func, and it will be text editing changed underscore sender, and it'll be for our UI text field. So as our text editing is changed, it'll continually call that method and call our update save button state. Okay, so I have added that in. Now I need to connect our text fields to that text editing changed. So what I need to do is I need to go back into my main storyboard. I will go ahead and click on the outlets, and then what I need to do is I need to go in and click on my symbol and make sure I have all of my segues appearing in my send events. And then what I want to do is editing changed. I need to drag down into that text editing change IB action outlet that I've created. So once the method is highlighted or function is highlighted in view, I can go ahead and connect the action. So I'll do that for my symbol. I'll go ahead, editing changed. Do that for my name. Editing changed. Do that for my description. And then finally, I will do that for my usage. Okay, so now that should be set up. So when the save button is pressed, the save unwind segue is performed. Before this segue is triggered, you should use the text field values to construct a new emoji object and set it to your emoji property. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement a prepare method that ensures that the save unwind segue is being performed, because we don't want it to occur when the cancel button is pressed, and then it'll update our emoji properties. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and let me exit out of here, and in our add emoji controller, I need to go ahead and write up a prepare function. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video again, write that code up, and then we'll go ahead and talk about it. Okay, I've gone through, I added that prepare function code. So what we're going to do is we're first going to call super, and then we're going to check to see if it was the save button that was pressed, and if it was, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and set each one of the values that are in all of our fields to variables, symbol, name, description, and usage, and then we're going to go ahead and create an emoji object. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we need to go back into our unwind to emoji table view method, and we need to verify that the save unwind segue was triggered. If so, we'll check to see if the table view still has a selected row. If it does, then you're unwinding after editing a particular emoji. If it does not, then a new emoji is being created. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the emoji table view controller, and I'm going to go ahead and implement this method. After I implement the method, we'll go ahead and talk about it. So let me just go ahead and Shift Command. Okay, so I've gone into my emoji table view controller and I've added in my unwind to emoji table view. So basically what we're checking is if the save unwind, else we're going to go ahead and return. We're going to go ahead and make sure our source view controller is the add edit emoji table view controller. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and check to see if a row was selected, and we're going to update that information in that row with the new emoji information. If we're adding something to the new emoji, then what we're doing is we're just appending it at the end and inserting a row in our table view. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and run the application right now and see what happens. Okay, so our app opens up. I'll go ahead. The one thing you'll notice is that in our description, the text is actually being truncated. So after we test this out, we're going to go ahead and fix that issue. So I'll just go ahead and select Grinny Face. I'll go ahead and just do a quick update to it. I'll just add a bunch of C's and save that, see if that works. Yeah, it's updated that. I'll go ahead, click on the plus again. I'll go ahead and add some information. So I'll Command K. So I get my emoji keyboard. I'll click on my little emoji. I'll go ahead and add a symbol in there. I'll just put a name, we'll just pretty simple stuff, B tab C. And then I'll click on save. Goes on back and it looks like it's added it. So it looks like our app is actually working. Let me go ahead and try the delete function. The delete seems to work. I'll click on edit, click on delete. It deletes. If I want to change how my emoji looks like, it looks like those have actually changed too. So looks like our functionality is working correctly. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some code in there so that if a description field will not be truncated. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go into okay, where is my code here? Okay, so I got everything up. What I want to do next is I want to go into my main storyboard. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And what we want to do is we want to go into our description label, and first thing I want to do is I want to set the number of lines equal to 0. So I'll go ahead and update that. The next thing I want to do is I want to go into my viewDidLoad method. And I'm going to go ahead and add some code in there. Go ahead to adjust the row height. So that'll adjust it to an automatic dimension. Okay, so I've gone in, I've added that. It looks like I need to do a fix here. UI table view automatic dimension has been renamed to UI table dot automatic dimension. So I'll go ahead and click on fix. And then the final thing I need to do is I need to go in and I need to change my compression resistance. So let me go back into my main storyboard. And what we want to do in that is every view has a default compression resistance value of 750. That's how resistant the view is to shrinking. In the size inspector, we're going to set the top labels compression resistant to 751. So let me go in. We'll go ahead and set that to 751. So it's telling the autolate engine that it has a higher priority than everything else to not shrink, including the cell itself. And then we're going to go ahead and set the bottom labels compression resistance to 752 so that it is resistant to shrinking as well. So I will go ahead and set the bottom one to 752. And then we will go ahead and run our app again and see if that alleviates the problem. Yeah, so it looks like now for our police officer, basically the cell, it has actually increased, and it's showing the full description. So that is it for lesson number 4-6, intermediate table views. So we will talk to you when we go into lesson 4.7.